Hi folks, time to start another new video. We've completed spreadsheets. As of now, if you're watching this video, you will have completed spreadsheets and done the spreadsheet assessment. If not, you need to go back some videos and get that done first. The next couple of things, guys, we're going to be focusing on is word processing, and I know we've done some of that already, which is a good thing, and PowerPoint. These are two applications that you're going to be getting assessed on. They kind of go hand in hand for the task that I'm going to be setting for you. You're going to be doing some research, which will allow you to create a PowerPoint presentation or a couple of PowerPoint presentations, because we're going to have some practice at this. We just want to see where you all are with using PowerPoint. So what I need to do is speak to you a bit about research. Before we do any PowerPoints or any finished piece of work like a report or that requires research, we don't just sit down at the internet in the real world anyway, and at the end of the day your boss asks you what you've done and just pays you. Excuse me. No, you have to map out your research, a plan of your research, what you're looking for, where you're going to look for it, how you're going to find it using keywords, etc. So a search strategy really is a map of your research. It's your plan. Search strategies, teaching for all these years lets me know that students usually do the finished piece of work, forget the search strategy, then go back and create it from the piece of work, the finished piece. That's back to front. A search strategy is a good thing. It's a great tool to get your first ideas laid down on the paper. Like if I give you a research task, you sit down and think, like, what can I find out about this thing or person or subject matter? And a search strategy is a tool that allows you to jot those ideas down, catalogue them, really. And then that is a map to follow when you go to do the piece of work. All your ideas are in your search strategy. And if your search strategy is good, then that allows you to follow that, which is a great hand in creating the finished piece of work. Search strategy. Now, we're on the main page here of the iTask page. I've stuck a generic search strategy example here about a Mr. Davenport who invented a rotary engine, I think, off the top of my head. That's just there as an example. Let me describe a wee bit about the makeup of a search strategy, the way I like them done, the way I think they're going to be most helpful to you as well. I've got a Word document here, and I've given myself a little subject of Albert Einstein. Now, when I'm doing a search strategy, what I want to do first is pose myself some questions in my head. What do I want to find out about this chosen subject? So what I've done here is I've written down, how many? 6 questions about Albert Einstein. Now, let's say I was doing a report or a PowerPoint, a presentation, sorry, on Albert Einstein. So the first things I want to do, like I said, is get the questions sorted out. When I go to do the finished piece of work, then this is going to be a map to this finished piece of work. As in this search strategy, I'm going to be able to follow it and find my research, hopefully, and complete the piece of work that I've been given. Sometimes it doesn't go to plan. I teach this in another class, a level above this one, and we do a search strategy. We then do a report, and then after the report's finished, we analyse our search strategy. And what that means is what didn't make it from your original ideas into the finished piece of work, what you couldn't find and what you replaced it with. It's an analysis of your search strategy. But we're not going to go to the analysis stage. We're just going to be doing a search strategy, then produce a finished piece of work, whether it be a report or a PowerPoint or both. Speaking to Big Dave Gorrell, I've not 100% made my mind up on that yet. So, but we'll see. It'll be a report or a PowerPoint based on a search strategy anyway. So I've laid out some questions here, 6. 6 is a good start. What I tend to find out is a search strategy is kind of something that grows. If I'm working on a piece of work and I do my search strategy, then I start to follow this search strategy, like say I was creating a presentation, and I find out that these 6 questions aren't enough to complete the presentation. I need more information. I jump back into my search strategy and I would pose some more questions and put a map to the research in here too, which then I would then go back and put it in the PowerPoint. So the search strategy and the PowerPoint would match each other. Anytime I'm looking for ideas or things I'm thinking about, they go in the search strategy. Now, let me explain what I mean. So here I've wrote this question, was Albert Einstein ever married? Now, a search strategy is what, where, and keywords. What I'm looking for, where I'm going to look for it, and what keywords I'm going to use to find it. So underneath question 1, just like written English, I'll take the question away in a minute. These are going to end up like 6 paragraphs of text. I've just threw these questions in here to remind me what I'm doing. So I'm going to edit this. In fact, I'm going to take the number 1 away because it's just going to be a paragraph. Will I leave the number 1 there? Leave them numbered? Yeah, we can. I don't see any problem about that. So I will be looking to find out, if Albert Einstein was ever married. Now, that's my question. That's the what part. That's what I'm trying to find out. From this, I will also hope to find who he was married to, if he was married. Yeah, so hopefully this search will turn out who he married. If I find out he was married, this will hopefully form this search. Sorry, Mark, from this search. This will hopefully tell me who he married as well. So that's my what. Now, my where. I will be using the internet for this search. I will be using Google as a starting point or search engine to point me in the direction of websites containing data, no, information I require. Right, guys, the reason I've went for using Google as a starting point to point me in the direction of websites containing the information I require, it specifies in the descriptor that you need to know the difference between a search engine and a website. Now, there is a little, is it still on the page? Let me see. No, I'll put it on there. There is a little video, a little presentation that will allow you to look at. It tells you what Google does when it searches for stuff on the internet. It's not really searching every single web page, obviously. It's these are indexed into a list, and it's actually searching these lists using things called spiders. I'll put a small presentation that I found that explains this pretty well. It takes a few minutes to watch on the My City page. So looking back at this, I've got what I'm looking for. I'm going to take that number away. I don't like it. I'm looking to find out if Albert Einstein was married and who he was married to. Oh, and who he was married to, maybe not. And also hope. That's what I'm looking for. Right. Where I'll be looking, I'll be using the internet for this search. I'll be using Google as a starting point to point in the direction of websites containing the information I require. So the reason I'm saying Google as a starting point, you're actually going to be finding the information on websites. You don't find it on Google. When you say, I hear people using the term all the time, I found it on Google. Yeah, Google found the information, but it found it on a website. Google doesn't retain or hold any information. It points you in the directions of websites, internet sites that hold that information. Yeah. So just be sure that when you're using your, when you're creating a search strategy, that if you're going to use Google as a starting point, make sure you let me know that you know Google as a search engine and it is pointing you in the direction of websites that contain the information. Now, it's not always going to be a search engine you're going to be going to. If you know the information is contained in a book or a magazine, then you would go and search these places. And your keywords would come in handy because these are the words you would look up if you were looking at an index or a table of contents trying to find your information. So I know the majority of the searches you guys will be doing will be on the internet and you'll start at Google. But like I said, you just have to make sure that I know that you know the difference between a search engine and a website. The last part we have for each question. So we've got what we're looking for, where we're going to look for it, and now the keywords. So the keywords I will use to find this information will be Albert Einstein. Now I'm putting these in quotes. I'll explain that in a second. And marriage. If I had just put here Albert and Einstein and marriage, I would be describing 3 different search criteria. I've put Albert Einstein in quotes and marriage, so it's kind of two that I'm describing here for keywords. If these quotes were not here, it would look for every website that contained the word Albert or the word Einstein or the word marriage. By putting this in quotes, I'm narrowing the search down a bit. I'm helping my search chances by saying only find pages that contain Albert Einstein next to each other or the word marriage. Yeah, sorry, or Albert Einstein and the word marriage, the difference between ands and ors. But we're not doing database this year, so I don't really have to go into that much. So this, what I would call, is one completed part of a search strategy for one element. The reason I'm calling it one element and not one piece of information or one piece of research might do. When you're researching for, especially doing presentations, you may be looking for a video clip, you may be looking for a sound clip, you may be looking for a photograph, you may be looking for a piece of information. There's different elements you could be looking for to put into a presentation. So each element that you plan on putting in a presentation, your first ideas anyway, needs to be described like this. What, where, keywords, everything. So I've posed another 6 questions here. Now I'm not going to go and fill these out the same as I've done the one at the front. This is just an example for you guys. So what I'm actually wanting you guys to do for next week is I want you to think of someone famous, preferably in the engineering world. If you cannot think of anyone, I'm sure a quick Google of famous engineers will come up with someone. Or you could maybe use an engineering feat, like a building or a bridge or something amazing that man's done in the engineering world. And I want you to create me a search strategy for this. The search strategy that you create, I want to have 8 elements in it, whether that be an image or a video clip or a sound file or some text or just 8 pieces of information. But remember, we are going to end up creating a presentation from this. So I would look for more than just information. Yeah, it'll be a very small presentation, but I just want to show you the tie-in between a search strategy and then a finished piece of work, whether it be a report or a presentation or whatever it may be. So I want you to Google either engineers or engineering feats, choose one, pose 8 questions, and I want each question to be made out like this. So really you're going to have 8 small paragraphs. Let me take this up. 8 small paragraphs, like so. In this example, I have posed 6 questions. I would have turned the 6 of these into paragraphs like this one. Now, another thing about search strategies, there is going to be repetition. There is going to be repetition in where you're going to look for stuff. Yeah, that's really the only part that's going to be repeated, because what you're looking for in the keywords will always change. If there is repetition in a search strategy, it is not wrong. It just means you're looking in the same place for the information, a different piece of information. So don't be scared if there's repetition there. Try not to repeat over and over and over and over and over again, like copy and paste between the 8 questions. They're kind of pushing it a bit, so you can reword things and jiggle the words about. But really, it's just a map to research. When I was finished this, I then have 6 questions, excuse me, that I can then go, right, first thing I'm looking for, was he married and who was he married to? Yeah, I'm going to jump onto Google to do this, and these are the keywords I'm using. This is stuff that you guys do every time. Whenever you sit down to do something at the internet, you just sit down and you start banging in keywords. And usually if it doesn't appear within the first 4 or 5 links in Google, you'll change your search criteria, you'll change your keywords, yeah? If you go, when we actually start to do the PowerPoint or the piece of work after this, we will go back and change our search strategy if we have to change any of the searches like they didn't work. But we're not going to go as far as analysing after the piece of work's finished. But ongoing, yeah, we can maybe change it a bit as we go. So, like I said, choose an engineering feat or an engineer. Pose 8 questions. That's going to be 8 paragraphs, yeah? 70 words a paragraph. It's going to be 70. It's going to be about a page long, yeah, roughly. I roughly think that a page is usually about 500 words. So that is your task for next week. I'll see you in class. Good luck. Oh yeah, and before I go, when you are finished your search strategy, drop it into the exercise Dropbox here. Thanks very much, guys. I'll see you soon.